Mm-mm. All right, we are here. Okay, Kirsten, I can see you. Can you hear us? Me, I guess. Okay, awesome. So, hey everybody, thank you for joining us. Oh, this is Steve's very first Zoom call.
A little nervous.
We did prepare a PowerPoint because he was a little bit nervous. All right, so we're going to dive right in. So we did kind of come up with a bit of, I'm just going to mute. We did kind of come up with a bit of a PowerPoint that will go through that basically covers the basics of the volume and placement that we've sort of been talking about that we wanted to clear up. And then at the end, if you're thinking of some specific questions in terms of your specific downline, we can touch base on those too. And I am recording this so you can come back to it as well if you're not quite sure about some of the stuff. So I'm going to start a screen share, and I just want to make sure everybody can see this PowerPoint if I make it big. How do I make it big? Slideshow. Like this? Okay. Kirsten, can you unmute yourself and let me know if you can see that whole screen? I can't hear you for some reason. Weird.
I can see it, Morgan.
Oh, okay. We can see it? Okay. Perfect. I don't know why I can't hear you, Kirsten. Okay. We will rock and roll. Okay. Whoops. Oh, there we go. Okay. If your Zoom thing is in the way, just move it over there. Okay, so in terms of volume, this is basically going to be your hub. This is going to be where you are wanting to look from now on. So just your online office, your business tab, and then your My Volume. Okay, so that's kind of your hub. That's where we're going to work from. And that's sort of where you want to make sure you're looking quite often. Okay, so this is where we're going to work from. All right, so we're going to dive right into volume. So I just wanted to make sure I covered the basics. So to get a team cycle, so this is the most important part about volume, is getting team cycles. This is where down the road most of your income is going to come from as you build your team. You're not really wanting to just sell more and have your commissions be more, right? That's not really our game plan. Your commissions will typically stay the same, but your team cycles are what is actually going to increase and therefore increase your income. So one cycle basically means you have 100 volume points on one side and 200 on the other side. That means you're going to cycle once. So that's going to be $14 for an Emerald Coach, $16 for a Ruby, and $18 for a Diamond. That's one of the number one reasons you want to get to Diamond as quickly as possible. So you've got basically the highest cycle amount, right? So Emerald versus Diamond, why wouldn't you want to make $4 more on your cycle, right? Your cycles actually get calculated every single second.
Yeah, so as soon as you have 100 volume on one leg and 200 volume on the other leg, you will get a cycle. So it doesn't matter if it's your weak leg that you have 100 or 200 or your strong leg. It doesn't really matter. It's going to rotate or it's going to cycle each time you have the 100 and 200.
So everybody on your right and left leg counts towards your volume. So it's not just your personally sponsored team that is counting towards your volume. It is absolutely everybody. Their coaches, their coaches' coaches, their coaches' 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 coaches. Everybody on that side counts towards your volume. So that's why I know in a previous call I had mentioned don't just focus necessarily on your personally sponsored coaches, because if your personally sponsored coach signs up a rock star and really has high volume and grows a crazy team, that benefits you too. So you don't have to, it isn't always your personally sponsored coaches that make your volume grow. It can be any coaches on those sides. And we're going to dive into this last point, that some people have a dominant leg and some people are not going to. All right. Do you want to do this one, or do you want me to?
No, you can.
Okay. All right. So we actually pulled screenshots of my volume and Steven's volume as well. So he has a business center and I have a business center. So here I am at the top. So I'll just kind of do my mouse where I am here. So this is my first few weeks of coaching. So as you can see, this right here where my mouse is, this is my left leg volume, and all these zeros are my right leg volume. So my scenario is this, and this obviously is not everybody's scenario. I have a strong and a weak leg. So that means the coaches above me, I was placed in a spot where coaches got placed below me, not personally sponsored, but just coaches from above me got placed. So that's where this volume came from. It didn't come from any of my coaches, because you can see on this side, I had 0 coaches. So it's all 0. Then this was a year later, you can see that one leg grew tons, mainly because I was adding coaches now. Virginia was actually on that side adding coaches, and still coaches were getting added from my upline. And then this right leg, I grew myself. So these are my coaches' coaches here. So the 3,000, the 2,000. So it took me a full year to get into those thousands. Its volume does grow slow, but it's kind of like that exponential growth, right? It starts off slow because you just add one coach. Then that coach adds a coach. Then that coach adds 2 coaches, then 4 coaches. So it starts to grow faster and faster. And as you can see, this was just the last 2 weeks, the volume here. So I haven't broke the 10,000 on that leg yet, but that's what I'm working towards.
But also, like last year, when we were in this kind of situation, we weren't really focusing a whole lot on building this, her right leg, her weak leg. It was just kind of balancing, you'd put 1 or 2 coaches on this leg, another 2 or 3 or 4. And it wasn't really like a main focus of ours to build this right leg, because we really didn't know. Morgan was a diamond, or maybe a diamond or 1-star diamond. So it wasn't, we were still pretty new and didn't really have a lot of knowledge about it. If we would have went back in time, this would have been built a lot more and a lot stronger from the get-go, even because we had such a high volume on her strong leg. And then it just grew even more the next year. And again, if we would have started back in July in 2013, really focusing on our weak leg, these 2 numbers would have been a lot higher had we known.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, you never know who's going to bring
Right.
you volume.
Right.
You're just randomly sometimes putting people on certain sides, and you're really not sure, right? Obviously, Virginia was one of my first coaches, and she's got crazy volume, but she is actually on my strong leg. So if I could change it, of course, I'd put her on my weak leg for that volume, but I didn't even really know Virginia when she signed up. So it's just luck of the draw sometimes.
And Virginia has ended up being a diamond, so that has counted towards the qualification for 5-star. But we'll get into that a little later.
So Steven's business center looks a lot different because I grew his actually. So I basically grew him. I just signed him up and kind of grew him like I would grow myself to diamond. But he didn't. He basically had even legs. So as you can see, like there's no big jump. They're actually pretty even. Down at the bottom, you can see them starting to have a stronger leg and a weaker leg. So right here, I grew him to diamond. So I was basically just putting 1-for-1 coaches on each side because I wanted to get him to diamond. So that's why the volume on each side is pretty even. Then once I got him to diamond, I was like, okay, the volume thing, the team cycle thing clicked in, and I realized, okay, I wanted to start, he was having coaches already placed on his strong leg from coaches above. So then I wanted to focus on his weak leg. And I'll show you a graph of that because I know it's a little confusing, but I've got a graph of my downline to show you after.
Yeah, you put the second business center on.
Oh yeah. So on that, okay. So his sides were even. And at that time, I actually got to open up a second business center because I was when you get to be a 2-star coach, you get to open up yourself underneath yourself, basically. So you get to have another business center, another paycheck. So his legs were equal. So I was like, okay, where do I put this business center that it'll help me out and help Steven out? So I put Steven under my weak leg because that's where I wanted to grow my volume. And then since his legs were equal, I decided to put my second business center under his strong leg. So that's why you see this volume on this side starting to get bigger around this time because I grew my second business center under that leg. Now that I think about it, I probably wouldn't have done that. I probably would have put myself on his weak leg because coaches above him are adding to this side anyways. But I mean, can't change it now. So, so I'll probably start building his weak leg for him. But again, I'll show you a diagram to help explain that in a bit here too. Good?
Yeah.
I know it's kind of confusing, but okay. Carryover volume. This is a question somebody had, and Steven will kind of explain this one because I actually had no idea what it was till fairly recently.
Yeah, so this has been kind of a focus. I've been reading up quite a bit on different groups. The guys that have been in this business for years and years, they talk a lot about this carryover volume, and it's pretty important because it kind of gives you an idea of what kind of income potential you might have and where you might want to focus putting future coach placements. My right leg is starting to grow the carryover volume, meaning that my left leg, the 100 to 200, I don't have enough volume on my left leg. And what that means is okay, how can I explain this? On February 17th, I had 495 volume. And, I don't know, that's this one. Total left leg. I had 541 left volume and 5,000 right volume. So for the 500, I could cycle 5 times. And then then the 5 times the 200 would be 1,000. So I took off 1,000 points on my right leg and 500 on my left leg. And that allowed me to cycle 5 times. But what we are starting to notice is that my right leg is growing a lot faster than my left leg. So we are going to be focusing on placing future coaches on the left leg to then balance out my carryover.
Because that carryover basically just sits there. It can get used as soon as his left leg catches up. It'll get used, but it basically just sits there.
It's earned volume that you've earned, but you just don't have enough on the left leg to cycle fully.
Because you need that 100 to 200 ratio, or else if you're limited by the one leg, then it just stops there and the rest goes to carryover.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just in my carryover volume area under my business. And it's something that you should really pay attention to once you're wondering where to place your coach's left or right leg volume to maximize your income.
Yeah, because his volume, that right stuff is basically just sitting there. So I'm going to focus on his left leg so we can use that up.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just pulled 2 paychecks here. This is from my income. I'm just going to move you guys over. Okay, so this is basically to show you a comparison of if you want to earn all your money from sales or if you want to earn all your money from building a team. And I hope it is from building a team. So what I earned in these weeks is pretty similar, you know, like just over 1,000. So this top one, I actually pulled, I think this was when the 21-day fix maybe just came out. Like my commissions are never this high, guys. Like literally, they're usually about $100 to $200. The odd time they're a minus if I have a return, but $100 to $200 to $300 is usually my regular commission. But I think the 21-day fix just came out this month, last year. So that's why my commission's so high. And then my team bonus is in the hundreds. So basically I made all my money from selling stuff. And we all know sometimes that's not the easiest thing. And that's not my goal, is to go out there and sell as much as I can. I want to help as many people as I can. But essentially I want to grow my income by helping other coaches help people too. So this bottom paycheck, you see the transition, right? So only $129. So that's maybe 2 challenge packs. And then the rest came from cycling that $18, the 100 to 200 ratio on my legs. That just came from straight cycles of the $700. So what's 700 divided by 18? I have no idea. Just let us calculate that. 38 times. Okay, so I cycled 38 times. So 38 times 100. Well, that's 3,800. Oh my God. Okay, so that means I had 3,800 volume on my weak leg. Okay, so that's just the difference in paychecks. I think I posted, I did a video. Remember that video I did at work with I posted in our Q1 group. I just did it on loose leaf and I kind of showed you how I broke it down, the 100 to 200 volume, and setting a goal. Like if you wanted to make $500 in team cycles a week, you needed. Yeah,
her math is not her strong point.
But yeah, okay. Okay. Jumping from volume to placement, but we will come back to volume a bit more. Okay, placement. So Emerald, obviously number 1 thing to hit first, 1 active coach on each side. Doesn't really matter who you put where because you need 1 on each side. Anyways, Diamond is obviously the next thing you want to focus on. I know it's, you want to focus on volume and everything, but you really want to make sure you get to Diamond first so you can get that $18, get that most bang for your buck. So you've got your 4 active coaches on each side and 1 has to be Emerald. And then once you're a solid Diamond, like, your coaches under you are solid, you're not going to fall from Diamond. That's when you want to start concentrating on these team cycles and really growing your income that way. So we made kind of 3 scenarios here for placement. So this first one is obviously a Diamond coach, right? You got 2 Emeralds on each side. You got 4 active coaches. So I'm the pink coach or whoever. So that's your basic Diamond coach. Okay, second scenario is this guy here. So you have a dominant and a weak leg. So the dominant leg here is not this one with all the coaches. There's only 500 volume on that side. This is your higher volume leg, okay? So just because you have a lot of coaches doesn't mean that's going to be your highest volume. If these are all discount coaches, they're not going to grow you much volume anyways, okay? If these are business builders, they're growing you more volume. So this means you have a dominant leg and a weak leg. So that might be some of your guys' scenario, or some of you might have this last scenario. Your volume is actually equal on both sides, okay?
Yeah, so the amount of coaches really doesn't matter for the volume. We just made this example just to show that just because it looks like this should be your weak leg and this should be your strong leg, but it all depends on what the coaches underneath have for volume. Yeah. So it looks backwards, but that could be a scenario where your weak leg has got tons and tons and tons of coaches and still don't have the volume, and it just easier to see that way.
Yeah, it really only takes one rock star coach that's kind of like in it to win it, to really grow your volume on one side, because they'll grow a very successful team. So you don't have to look at adding tons and tons of coaches to your team if you're adding quality coaches. Right. Okay. So if you have a spouse, and I would suggest signing them up if you haven't already. If you have and they're placed, that's perfect. You can deal with wherever they are. If you haven't placed them yet, or if you're looking to educate your coaches on where to place them, this is what it's for. So scenario number 1, we got our pink coach here. There is a strong leg and a weak leg. There's a dominant and a not so dominant leg. So this leg has 1,000 volume and this leg's pretty weak. So where I would put my spouse, I would definitely put him on my weak leg. And that is what I did with Steven. I put him on my weak leg because I'm going to grow Steven because I want to get income from him. So, and I also want to grow my weak leg. So why wouldn't I grow him and my weak leg at the exact same time, right? Because whatever is under him benefits him, but it also benefits me. Okay. So if there's a dominant and a weak leg, definitely go weak leg. And I would suggest the sooner the better, right? If you're growing a team, the higher up you can get him so that he can start building volume under him, the better. Okay. So the sooner you can sign up your spouse, the better. Scenario number 2 is if your volume is equal on both sides. You're like, where do I put them? That is sort of your choice. There's no right or wrong answer. I would say ask yourself, what are you going to do with your spouse? Are they just going to sit there, or are you actually going to maybe grow them to, say, diamond? Are they going to count as one of your diamonds? Then maybe you want to think about rank. Okay, so to hit a 2-star diamond coach, I need a diamond on each side. So say I have a rock star coach on my left and I know I'm going to grow my spouse to diamond, well, then maybe I'm going to put him on my right so that I have 2 diamonds on each side. Okay. But in terms of if your legs are even, it's really your choice where you put them.
Yeah. Your spouse might end up building a strong leg. But that's totally fine if they're equal, because you're going to look for rank advancement in that situation.
And if you've got them placed and you're like, oh shoot, I shouldn't have placed them there, I mean, you can ask us specific questions on how you can benefit from them or how you can grow them too, and we can help you out. But I mean, I've got placements that I wish I wouldn't have made either too, but it happens.
Yeah, like if you put your spouse on your strong leg,
it's okay.
That's okay too, because you'll have a lot of volume growing on his or her one leg. So all you would need to do is focus on his weak leg, and then it would be the exact same.
Cycle him.
It would still, yeah. You would add a few more coaches to his weak leg here, and potentially build him to one of your diamonds there as well.
Yeah. On this, they're fine on the strong leg too, because you could totally just build their one leg, and they're gonna start getting team cycles as long as you get them to emerald for sure.
Yeah.
So there's really no right or wrong answer. I would just say get them signed up as soon as possible, basically, if it works for you. Yeah. Okay. Things to consider. All right. If you haven't seen this diagram yet, this is ranking. So obviously your number one goal is to hit that diamond rank, right? Looking way, way down the road, this doesn't have to be in your mind, obviously, now, but sometimes it is for placement. Okay, so the number one focus after diamond is volume. But if you have rank in your mind as well, I just wanted to post this so you keep that in mind. Because if you want to be a 2-star diamond coach, you have to have 1 diamond on each side. They can't be on the same side. If you want to be a 5-star diamond coach, you actually have to have 3 on one side and 2 on the other. You could have all 5 on each side, but technically you wouldn't be a 5-star diamond coach. You would just be a 1-star coach because you only have 1. You would need the other on the other side. So you can have this in the back of your mind in terms of placing as well. And like I said, it's very, very hard to know who's going to be your diamond coaches anyways. So sometimes it's just luck of the draw. But that can be in the back of your mind too. All right, so I wanted to show you what my downline looks like just to help explain it a little bit better. So this is me. So like I said, I have a very dominant leg, this left leg, because I was placed just the way I was placed. And some of you might be in the same scenario, some of you may not. There's coaches from up here being added to this leg. They're not my coaches. They're coming from coaches above me. Some of you might have this. Some of you might be building from scratch. You might not have any coaches added to you, which is fine too. Tons of coaches are like that, and they're very, very successful. And it's kind of nice because then everybody below you is actually your team. But anyways, this is my scenario. So lots of volume here. Not so much volume here. So I grew myself to diamond. So I was just placing pretty much even coaches on both sides until I hit diamond. And then I realized, okay, I need to start building my weak leg to start growing my team cycles. So I had Steven, I put him there. And then I put Steven there. And I started placing some of my coaches under his weak leg. These purple guys were still my coaches, but you can actually set your placement for them to go on this side. Okay, so it's just in preferred placement. You can actually set them to go under a certain coach. So I had them set to go under Steven's left leg. So I kind of added, I don't know, like 4, 5, 6 coaches under here. I gave coaches to him because I wanted him to be diamond too. So that's what I did there, because these purple coaches then benefit Steven, but they're also still on my weak leg. So their volume's still benefiting me. So the purple coaches, it really doesn't matter if they're here or way down here, they're all still on my weak leg. So they still count. Doesn't really matter where you place them. Then when I opened up a second business center, I put it down here. I probably shouldn't have. I would have put him underneath. I would have put it underneath my purples, because Steven's legs were equal. And at the time I thought, oh no, I have to grow a strong leg for Steven. So I was going to put it under here, and this would be his strong leg, because all these coaches, when they add coaches, keep going as well. But that leg would have grown naturally anyways, because these coaches are adding coaches underneath. But this leg isn't growing as much. So I should have put my second business center here, but I mean, not a big deal. We'll add coaches here anyways. So that is my situation. It obviously might not look like yours, but that's kind of where mine is at. Okay. All right. So this is the big question. Do I work towards rank or do I work towards volume? There are pros and cons for both. Okay. So rank, like a diamond coach. Obviously, let's just make that clear. You want to get to diamond first, obviously. Okay. After that, though, if you're like, do I want to be a 1-star coach, 2-star coach, or do I want to really focus on my volume? Rank will probably come anyways. So with rank, what you get, quarterly bonuses start at the rank of 2-star. And quarterly bonuses are something nice to have. So 4 times a year, 2-star coaches, there's a 2-star bonus, a 5-star bonus, a 10-star bonus, and a 15-star bonus. So for example, January, we got January was the first bonus for this year. Is the first time I qualified for bonuses, and I was a 5-star diamond coach. So I got the 5-star bonus and the 2-star bonus. And what it is, Beachbody takes a certain
it's like 0.5%.
0.5% of their total sales for that quarter and divides it up between the certain amount of 2-star coaches, the certain amount of 5-star coaches, 10-star, 15-star. So obviously there's a lot of 2-star coaches. So I think the bonus was around like, I don't know, $700. So that's 4 times a year. The 5-star bonus was around $3,000.
Yeah.
$3,000. The 10-star bonus is like $10,000, and the 15-star bonus is like $25,000, and that's 4 times a year. So that in itself is a really good reason to rank advance. So in January, we made basically $4,000 off of just bonuses. Okay. So it rolls up. So you get the 2-star, the 5-star. If you were a 10-star, you'd get the 10-star as well. Okay, rank. Also, Premier, if you want to go for Premier, that's a 2-star coach. Elite is a 5-star coach. You get, you can qualify for those trips. Like I went to LA. There's extra little perks. You get sent, sneak peeks into programs early. You can get $500 a month from the Elite. So there's really a lot of extra perks. Special seating at Summit, special early registration for Success Club trips, special dinners and celebrations at Summit. So those are things that come with rank as well. Your volume cap increases. So when you're a diamond coach, you can make $1,000 from team cycle bonuses. Okay. That's your cap out. If you make more volume, you don't get it in team cycles. When you're a 1-star, it goes up 1,000. So you can make $2,000 in team cycles as a 1-star coach. If you make more than that, it just disappears basically. So if you're capping out on your income, that is definitely a reason to rank advance. Okay. And obviously your recognition, right? The recognition program, you get your shirts and your jackets and your bracelets and all that fun stuff. But volume is probably more important than rank. It might not have all the fancy recognition and all that, but it's basically what's going to build your income the fastest. You might even match what you'd actually make in the quarterly bonus. You might end up making that or even more than that in team cycles if you focus on your volume. And your income is going to grow faster if you focus on your team cycles. Like 1-star diamond or 2-star diamond isn't necessarily going to bring you more money.
Right, because the more people that become 1 or 2-star or the 2-star for the bonus, the quarterly bonus is just going to get smaller and smaller. So for you to concentrate on the volume, you'll make that money up faster concentrating on your volume than you would necessarily being a 2-star.
I mean, you definitely want to help your coaches advance, because that's only going to benefit them and their teams, right? The same as you're doing. But I just would caution you not to get super caught up in ranks. Obviously, you want to get to diamond, like I keep saying, but ranks after that, I just really focus on that volume, because that's where your biggest income growth is going to come from. And like I said, volume does take time, but it comes. Okay. I know Stacy had this question. I think I answered pretty much everything on here, but we didn't have any specific, whoa, how do I get out of here? Oh, there we go. I didn't have any specific questions from anybody else, but if you do have a specific question right now, we'll just kind of do a Q&A. If you want to either type it or unmute yourself and ask.
I'll go first. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, hold on. Sorry, my earphones are plugged in. Okay. Let me turn my volume on. Sorry. Okay, so if you know you're gonna have a business builder, should you put them on a certain side?
Do you have a strong and a weak leg, Ashley, or your leg's pretty even?
No, my right leg is stronger than my left leg.
I would put your business builder on your weak leg so that they can help that volume increase.
Okay. And you said it doesn't matter what side has 100 or 200?
No, it can actually flip back and forth throughout every single second. It doesn't really matter what's where.
Okay, and then your weak leg, you want to put your spouse on your weak leg.
If your strong leg is a lot stronger, yeah. That would be the main. Yeah, that would probably be the best bet for sure.
And I'm able to just contact coach relations and get him changed over?
Only if he signed up within the last 5 days. You still only have that 5-day window. But if he's on a strong leg, it's still going to work out in a good way because you're going to grow his weak leg anyways. So it works out good either way, but yeah.
Yeah, you'll use him more for rank advance then.
Yeah.
Okay.
He'll be one of your diamonds on your strong leg instead of having to place, guests with a bunch of personally sponsored on that strong leg.
Yeah.
So in order to get him to be diamond, I'm going to place a coach on each one of his legs. He doesn't have to find anybody. I would just do that placement automatically.
Yeah. So essentially to grow Steven to diamond, I had to give up obviously 8 coaches to him. So they signed up under him. I basically let them know that's obviously still me doing that. But I gave up 8 coaches to him to get him to diamond. But then to grow his volume, I just took my coaches that I signed up and just placed them under his weak leg. Like I said, in the preferred placement, you can put it to go under Steven. But if you want to get him to emerald so he can start getting team cycles, you'll need to give up 2 coaches to him. Yeah. They have to be personally sponsored to get to emerald.
And that has to be within the 5-day window of when they sign up.
Any movement of coaches, yes. Any placement changes need to be done within 5-day window. Yeah. So be cautious of where your new coaches go and how much time you have to move them.
Okay. And then my last question, and it kind of doesn't really have to do anything with volume. When say one of my coaches signs up another coach and they are still showing up gray as an active, that just takes a week or a day or 2 for them to become active?
So they need 50 PV to be active. So if they ordered something during sign up, they'll be active right away. If they didn't order anything, they won't go active until they either order that themselves or they sell it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All the questions I have.
Okay. If, however, they had volume, from the previous, say they ordered Shakeology like a week ago and that, they can email customer service and ask to have that volume transferred to their coach account so they show up as active.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there a certain time limit on that?
No. And they just need that, to be an active coach, you need your 50 PV every 5 weeks. So if their order was already 5 weeks past, then it's not going to benefit them. But say if it was last week, they could go active.
Okay. Actually, I have one more question. What's a lifetime cycle? Is that just how many cycles you've done in your entire
since you started. Yeah.
Okay. Is there a point to really knowing that?
Not really. I think they just keep track of how many cycles you
have done. Okay.
Your team has cycled, I guess. If you were year to year, you could see last year I cycled 4,000 times. This year I cycled 12,000 times, kind of thing. It's
okay. That makes sense. Okay, that's all I have.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome.
I'll go now if no one else is going.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Just to answer one of Ashley's questions about the gray status, customer service told me too, if they did order Shakeology last week or whatever, that they will turn blue or whatever the next Thursday. So the end of the week.
Okay.
So they don't necessarily have to call in or whatever about it, but at the end of the week they said that they will turn to active. That's what they told me anyway.
Okay, no, interesting to know. Keep an eye on that and make sure it turns.
I guess it would just be after the
new week.
Yeah.
Reset.
Yeah. And my question was just when you add a coach under a coach, you're always just adding to their strong leg then? You never add to their weak leg? They do that themselves?
Yeah, basically you, unless it's your spouse or whomever that you want to grow, add them to their weak leg. But otherwise, yeah, just add the strong leg. Because otherwise, if you randomly just put them on the inside, they're kind of just like sitting there with not much going on if you're not going to continue to build that weak leg. So yeah, I would just keep it with a strong leg unless it's somebody you know you're going to keep building that leg for.
Okay. Yeah, that was my only question.
Hi, I just have a quick question. I'm not sure if it's working. This is my first Zoom call ever. So.
Ooh,
Me
welcome.
too.
Hi. Okay, so my question is right now as of, I guess today, I would be even on both legs as far as like, I'll have 2 Emerald coaches and then 2 underneath. So then I just need 2 more coaches. So my left leg is my strong leg. But my question is, so I need to have 4 active coaches on each side and 2 emeralds on each side in order to rank to diamond, correct?
One emerald on each side.
Yeah, 1 emerald.
Oh, sorry, 1 emerald on both sides, sorry. And then, okay. So my question is after that, like, because my right leg is so weak, right now I've just been rotating like for preferred placement. After that, would I start trying to just put coaches on the right side for a while?
Yeah.
Because it's significantly weaker. Like
And
sometimes my PV on that side is 0.
Yep.
And that would be under your carryover volume to see. And you can spend like 3-4 weeks, and the next couple coaches that come through, kind of place them on that weak side or whichever. But yeah, take a couple weeks to try to build that, and then in the next 3, 4, 5 months, you'll see that paying off. Yeah, just focus at each time on a single leg. Yeah, that's probably.
Okay, and then another question. So, like, let's say I didn't have time and I didn't get to rotate my preferred placement back, like, because you have to change that each time, correct?
Yeah, but as long as, like, sometimes I'll totally forget to change it, and I'll just email Coach Relations, and they'll change it as long as
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you're right.
You have 5 days, right? Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I needed to know.
Oh yeah, no, sometimes I don't even bother with the preferred placement if I don't know where I want them, because it usually takes me 3 or 4 days to decide.
Right. Okay.
But like Steven said, like once you're to diamond, yeah, focus on that weak leg. And I usually do my focus is in like bulk. Like everybody that signs up to be a coach in the next 1 or 2 months, I'm going to put here. And then once those coaches start to get going 2-3 months down the road, then I'll start to see the volume increase. It doesn't happen instantly because those coaches have to learn and get started, but then you'll gradually see it. But obviously keep an eye on your diamond, right? Because if you lose somebody on your strong leg, you want to replace that person quick too.
Yeah. Well, like Adrian's on my strong leg and she's close to diamond too. So
perfect.
That's kind of, I think that I should focus after to kind of strengthen my right leg because it's really, really weak. Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Welcome.
Don't know what I'm doing. Sorry. Now it's frozen. It won't. Can you unmute me? Because it won't let me.
Yeah, I can mute you.
Okay. Or unmute me. Sorry. Thanks.
Any other questions anybody has?
Yeah, did we answer any questions? I don't know if that was.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
So, did he have to get like fill out the W8 Ben form too for order if you're diamond? So you would have to do all that paperwork too just to get the money, right?
Yeah, I had to fill out the Ben form for Steven too.
Okay, so for Kevin, since we're in Manitoba, we actually have to get a legit business license. So he would have to get a business license too. Okay.
Yeah. So you're essentially running 2 different businesses. Yeah.
Okay.
And you don't need another one for the second business center, do you?
No, once you open up a second business center, you don't need any of that because technically it's still you.
Okay. And you said before that you incorporated it into your business too, right?
Yeah, so just recently, because Steven has a business with Quiznos called Q10 Foods, just the past month or two, I decided to put my beach.
Yeah, your business, it's incorporated.
Yeah, my business is incorporated into Q10. I don't really understand all that, but basically I pay less taxes.
And you don't make any money.
And I don't make any money because he doesn't pay me.
Okay, sounds good.
But yeah. But down the road, I mean, it might, like, once you start making a significant income, it might be something you want to look into. I know lots of coaches, once they're making a full-time income, look into corporations so they can pay less taxes.
But they always say, like, the amount of money that it takes to incorporate and do the paperwork and the lawyer fees and that kind of stuff, like, it's got to be, you know, you got to make it worth it. Yeah.
Did that info help a little bit? I know it's a lot, and honestly, I knew none of this until, like, not that long ago. And Steve, I'm not like I said, I'm just kind of, I want to make everybody happy and, like, have a good team. And he's like, numbers. So I've actually learned a lot from him because he sits up late at night and looks through my online office. But so I know it's a lot of information, but it all comes with time.
Yeah, like, it's not really important now, but if you focus on it now, that, like, Morgan didn't when she first started, like, it will make a huge difference.
And that's basically why we wanted to share it, because I've learned from my mistakes of not focusing on volume and
placement
and placing people anywhere.
Yeah.
And, like, not that they were mistakes, but I obviously, like, could have helped myself out a lot better.
Well, if you're building the team already and you're putting in all this effort, you might as well, you know, try to maximize what you can. There's no point in you putting a bunch of volume into your carryover if you don't have to, kind of thing. So that's kind of why we decided, you know, it's a good time for you guys to start thinking about that, because you're right there.
Mm-hmm.
You might have to unmute her.
Sorry, I have one more question.
No.
Yeah.
I have a few people in Manitoba that are interested in just becoming discount coaches. Mm-hmm. And I know I posted this on the page the other day and I don't think anyone responded, but do you know that if they just want to be a discount coach to start with and they aren't really interested in, like, growing a business, do they have to apply for the direct seller's license or no? No,
Beachbody says they should, but nothing's going to happen if they don't. If for some reason they do make some money, they're just not going to get paid for it. But other than that, if they're just a discount, nothing's going to happen anyways, really. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
So you can give it to them as an option to fill out, I guess, and let them know if they do want to potentially earn money, to make sure they let you know so you can help them through it. But nothing will happen if they don't fill it out.
Okay, perfect. My computer crashed, so I'm using my iPad. So that's why I can see my finger every single time.
Okay. Any other questions before we wrap up, guys?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
So, okay, I'm trying to wrap my head around this, so I hope that it's okay, like, to normalize that this is very confusing. And, like, a lot of it's really hypothetical too, right? Like, I guess the lesson is to just make sure you watch when you get coaches and just watch those numbers, and then you can kind of, like, strategically plan your next move. But a lot of it's pretty hypothetical, right? Like, because you're just anticipating who's going to be active, who's not going to be, right? Like,
okay. Exactly. Like, you literally, like, you can sort of plan it, but realistically, you have no idea what coaches are going to do well and what coaches aren't going to do well.
And I guess, and that's kind of why Morgan said, like, she'll place, like, 8 people in this one area, or when she builds her second business center, she is concentrated on building her second business center. She's not, like, putting a coach in her weak leg and then her second business center and then her strong leg. Like she is putting like, you know, quite a few concentrating on that one specific area. And if 2 out of 10 or whatever, right? Like she's trying as best as she can. She's not just kind of placing. So you think that you'll be able to see an increase if you do in the masses kind of?
Because at least
I'm kicking myself because on my one leg I have 4. On my other leg I have like 8 or 9 or something. And then Ariel, she went emerald in like a day. And then so another coach that I signed up, she's 1 coach away from being emerald. So like if I were to put that other one on the other side, I would literally be like 1, you know, away from it. So it's just like, I guess it's just always like learning, and I don't know.
Yeah, it takes a long time.
I'm shaking my head at a lot of things I know I've done too. It's like, oh, if I just would have placed this person here, but I mean, you're right. You just never know.
Yeah. Well, especially because,
I was going to say, if Taryn and Hillary weren't on the same leg, my life would be a lot easier. But
you got to work for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it all works out down the road. Like I said, you do want, you know, some rock stars on each side for your potential rank advancing down the road anyways.
Right.
So it's not that you just want everybody on one side, because then you really can't rank advance. So it all does work out in the long run. Awesome. And thanks for making that point, Hillary. Yeah, like this is very specific, and that's kind of why I only kept it to you guys and not our whole team, because it might get a little overwhelming. It's very specific stuff, but and hypothetical. Like it's just something if you want to dive into more. Lots of coaches don't even look at this stuff and they're very successful. Lots of coaches are all about this stuff and they're very successful. So it's basically just what you're into. Like,
yeah, I guess you're just kind of fine tuning with this. Like it's not, you know, you'll still grow the way you're doing it, but if you can make a couple of different placement choices that you have experience from, like it can really pay off for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's my business move. I need to get a boyfriend and then I need to sign him up.
Yeah.
Is that a good plan?
On your weak leg.
Okay.
Excellent. Make sure it's your weak leg.
Okay, deal.
Oh my goodness. They only need a social insurance number. I was going to say you can make one up.
Oh.
You need a social insurance number.
Oh my God. I'm going to go on Tinder and get a few.
Make sure they have like health and fitness as one of their interests.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to get it right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so basically, like, my first video I had made for you, like when we first started our diamond group, was how I broke it down. Like basically all I was concerned with was 200, 100, let's just get team cycles. I want to make my goal of $500 a week from team cycles. And then Steven's really the only reason I dove into this stuff a little bit further and learned it. But so those are the different levels. Like you can just be focused on the simple stuff. You can dive in if you want. Mm-hmm. It's kind of all over. But if you do have specific questions or want to set like income goals, like if you're wondering what your volume has to be to have so much income from team cycles, blah, 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 just message us and we can help you set those too.
Yeah. And we understand like that we gave like Morgan and my example, but if you guys have specific examples of how everything is lined up and you just don't know and it doesn't look anything like ours, then definitely message us and see and we can help you through,
because everybody's business looks so different. So different. So yeah,
I don't know, hopefully that helped.
I hope a little bit. Okay, awesome. It is recording. I will upload this to YouTube if you want to come back to it or share it with some of the leaders on your team. I mean, obviously don't share this with newbies, but if somebody's interested in placement and volume, you can use this as a resource too.
Yeah, any other questions?
Awesome.
That's good.
Okay. Have a good night, everybody. Oh my gosh, that was the longest call ever. Lasted an hour. Okay, see ya.